Friends from work, we're all here. Except we have this rogue weirdo, Aaron Viola from Fanboy Garage, here to talk about. What are we going to talk about, Courtney?
We're going to talk about a lot today. So we're talking about everything from top things that have happened this past week in pop culture news. We're going to talk about the upcoming Secret Invasion trailer that was dropped this week via Marvel. We're going to talk about the newest episode of Mandalorian, as always. And then there's been some exciting stuff coming out of London where Star Wars Celebration's happening.
Stay tuned.
Everybody come on, let's get down. Get down.
And thank you, Freak Base. So we do have a guest here, Aaron. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
Do we even call you a guest?
How's everyone?
We're good. Good to have you. When I sent you that text for you to join us, I was just kidding, but you joined us anyway, so I guess we'll just deal with it.
We'll just handle it. It's fine. It's fine.
It's always good to crash someone's show.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna start the show off. We got Courtney Cheek, Brian Chatlin, Rick Shue, the Friends from Work trio, and our guest Aaron Viola.
Oh, you got it right. This is like the first time ever.
I know it from Fanboy Garage. So anyway, so Courtney always had this great idea a couple months ago, but doing a top 5 pop culture thing. So Courtney, the floor is yours. Let's roll through these. What do we got?
Yeah, we've got a lot of. It's actually probably going to be more than 5 because there's just so much. I feel like we got to at least talk about it or mention. So number 1 on my list, this was not the number 1 I sent earlier in the week because it came out actually a couple days ago, is the brand new Barbie trailer. If you guys have not had an opportunity to go watch that, it is a stacked cast. It is like every name under the sun is in it. Everything from Margot Robbie starring as Bobby, Ryan Gosling starring as the original Ken. You got Simu Liu, America Ferrari. I mean, there's a ton of people in it. It's just totally stacked. They released all the press images earlier in the week, and it's all these different actors, actresses. Dua Lipa's in one of them, as this Barbie is XYZ, which is really fun. So it's a really great campaign. It's gotten a ton of buzz. So I think it's going to be something where we'll continue to see more clips and things about this film coming out, but I'm really excited about it. Have you guys seen anything about the trailer yet?
I have, and what I was really surprised about was the viral memes that were going around, and we're putting like faces of everything. But that's great publicity for the movie.
It is.
I mean, you put what's his name from Scream? What's the Ghostface? You put Ghostface as a Barbie meme, and 30 million people put it on Twitter. It's good for the movie. But yeah, Margot Robbie's a dynamic talent. I mean, I say this like as a true fan of her work. I'd see virtually anything she's done, even films I haven't really liked that she's in. She's incredible, even in her bad movies. So I'm on board. I think my daughters will want to see that, so I'm in. What about you, Aaron? You got a daughter? You gonna take her to see that?
Yeah, she'll probably want to see it. She hasn't seen the trailer yet, but she has been listening to the Barbie song, like "I'm a Barbie Girl."
Oh yeah, nice. An oldie but a goodie.
Oh boy, on repeat in my house. Like, she's like, turn the volume up. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Nice.
So yeah,
nice.
Check it out.
All right.
What about you, Brian?
I don't have a daughter, no. And I'll probably be going to see it anyways.
Not that I know
of. No, that's a no. I'll probably be going to see it anyways. Everything I've been seeing popping up, I haven't seen the new trailer yet. I did miss that. But everything I'm seeing popping up just says that this is going to be just an absolute blast, and I dig that. So, all right, if they're doing a Barbie movie, it's got to be fun.
Oh yes. And I've seen there's tweets going around, and then one of them that's gone viral is Chrissy Teigen. She tweeted there's a moment in the trailer where Margot Robbie presumably steps out of shoes, and her feet are in the Barbie like thing where she's like all on her toes, and it's just flawlessly done. And Chrissy Teigen tweeted like, I need to know everything about this shot. Like, was she holding on to something? Was she in a harness? How many takes did this take? Like, there's all this stuff around it because it like she's literally almost in like a point, like a ballerina point shoe in a way. Like, it's crazy. So there's just a lot of fun things around it. Greta Gerwig is directing, if you guys didn't know. So it's going to be fun, if nothing else. So it'll be exciting. Number 2, there has been an announcement from Warner Brothers and HBO that there is a Harry Potter series on its way, which I have a little bit of mixed feelings here. Supposedly, based on some of the sources that have been talking about this, the idea is that each book will get a season. So they're basically going to end up redoing what the movies have become. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, the first thing I think about is how excited both my daughters and my stepdaughter, for that matter, are going to be about anything new Harry Potter. So
yeah,
just that's my number one thing I go to in my head is my kids, and like that's amazing. So I'm all in.
I got mixed feelings about that. Aaron, man, how you feeling about that?
I'm with you, man. I'm mixed. I'm kind of like it's too early to tap that well.
Yeah,
because that's finished.
I'm not a big Avid fan, so for me it's loose.
Oh, dude,
you know what I mean? I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not. It's not. It doesn't rattle me.
I've got wands, man. So you know, this is like I get it. Like I get it. Do I want it? I don't know.
Well, so did you guys Golden Compass? Did you guys see that a number of years back? So
Forever
Golden Compass
ago.
it was interesting. So then HBO came out with his Dark Materials.
That's right.
It was almost a like scene for scene because it's from a books. It's almost scene for scene similar. There's more to it. It's darker, and then it continues on where the movie ended, and they decided not to continue the stories in the theaters. It is actually very well done. I think it's better done than the movie was. So if HBO is able to maybe go a little darker, add in some of the pieces, then maybe it could be worth watching. But like the entire series is already done. So what is that?
It's gonna be challenging. Like I think in the back half of those books, they had to, because they got thicker and thicker and thicker, and there was a lot of context that darker. They had to cut those. They had to cut a lot of stuff out to keep the movie streamlined. But the first like 3 movies are almost beat for the book.
Yeah.
So you get 3 seasons deep before you're actually adding anything new.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, in Alfonso Cuarón's third book, The Prisoner of Azkaban, is a masterpiece. So I don't know how you outdo that in a show. But hey, they got to make money. They want their franchise. They've been saying that for a long time.
It's an IP war. I mean, everybody's looking to maximize their IP. There's all this great IP floating around. And I mean, that is literally what today's studios and networks are doing. They are trying to get every inch and drop out of IP that they can. And they haven't had anything new from Harry Potter since, when did the last movie come out? Like 2010, 2009, whatever that was. I can't think.
Including Dumbledore and
the Fantastic Beasts.
Oh no! See, I feel like that's true. I didn't think about that. So they've had more recent, but that hasn't done nearly as well as the original movies did.
No.
You know what's really cool for me is that watching my soon-to-be 9-year-old, my youngest, she is these Harry Potter films with the books is her first true experience in reading a book and then watching it on film and watching, okay, so I had written these characters in my head a certain way, or how this, we all have that moment, right? Do you guys remember that moment for yourself? For me, oddly enough, mine was like The Firm. It was a John Grisham novel. And then I saw the movie and I'm going, whoa, yeah, it is. But and the book's great too. Very different ending. But I remember watching going, that's not how I wrote these characters in my head, because it's different with comic books to like, because back then when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of stuff. You had the Batman and TV show from the 60s. You had George Reeves, Superman, black and white. Then you had the Christopher Reeve stuff. So there wasn't a whole lot of things to pull from, unless you want to really go deep cut and do Spider-Man and Electric Company. Anybody on that?
Electric Company. I remember that.
I'm showing my age with Electric Company. Yeah, man. Heck yeah. So anyway, that's really special for me. And then I was in New York last year with my wife and stepdaughter, and we were all like, we spent probably 2 hours at that freaking Harry Potter 3-story place in Times Square.
Nice.
So I'm just excited as a dad for this. So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, fun fact, you spoke of The Firm, Rick. Did you know that John Grisham did announce, I think it was this week or last week, he's writing a sequel to The Firm, and that is already in development with the same studio that produced the original movie.
Well, in the original book, if I remember correctly, it's been a hot minute since I've read it, but I feel like that Tom Cruise's character, whatever his name is, the attorney, rips off like everybody. And in this, he kind of makes a deal with the mob, and the FBI's not real happy about it, gives his Al Capone analogy, whatever. But I remember in the book, I think he screws both of them over, and then he and his wife and their dog go island hopping or something for the rest of their lives. So I'd be interested to see what he does if he writes a sequel. Is it going to be more based on the screenplay or the book? And if there's any if there's John Grisham
more money.
Well, there's John Grisham fanboys out there, and I got that a little wrong. Bear with me; it's been 25 years since I've read it. But anyway, all right.
So there we go.
Cool. Next
up, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson announced this week that there is a live action Moana in the works. He is executive producing, which is a little surprising to me, given that movie came out, like 5-ish years ago. I mean, not that long. Like, it has not been the traditional 20 plus years that we're seeing these remakes come out. So I want to get y'all's thoughts on that. A, did you see the original? And B, what do you think about this remake so early?
Yes, I saw the original. I actually sing "You're Welcome" at karaoke.
It's such a good song. It's so good.
When you sing it and you get a table come up and go, yeah, man, thank you for that. That was great.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
I've seen it a million times. One of my daughter's favorite movies, and it's fantastic.
It is.
I'm on board with this. I mean, I like the little promo thing he put out with his daughters. That the visuals are just gorgeous. And I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think, to your larger point, Courtney, it's not been 20 years, but we live in such a different, rapid society than we did even 20 years ago. That 5 years is now 20 years how it used to be, you know what I mean, in terms of pop culture stuff. And by the time the movie actually gets around to coming out, 25, 26, if I had to imagine, be 6-7 years. I think it'll be fine.
Yep.
Most of the core audience of the original will now be,
a little bit older.
Yeah. No, I think it's great.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Aaron?
I love that movie. We still watch it.
It's so good.
It was my daughter's one of her favorite films because she looks like little Moana when she was a little kid, like chubby, like dark hair.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I love it.
So yeah, I think I'm down for it, and I love The Rock. So except for anything that's related to Black Adam, because that was gaga.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I'm down for it.
So does this mean that The Rock is actually going to open on Broadway?
I really hope so. I would be okay with that if that's the case.
Of all the things I never thought I would see in my lifetime,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I would pay money to see it.
I would not be surprised. Yeah,
I would not.
I got to get to New York to see Back to the Future musical this year. Got to do it. Got to do it.
So we just got back from seeing Moulin Rouge over the weekend, and it was so good. So good. So if you haven't seen that one.
Was it in Dallas?
Yeah.
It was touring in Dallas. I think next it goes to Houston, but it's also in New York. It's been on Broadway for a few years now. But it won Best Tony. Speaking of Tonys, Neil Patrick Harris is actually going to join Broadway's Peter Pan Goes Wrong. I've heard amazing things about this musical. It is supposed to do well at the Tonys this year, from what I'm hearing from friends that have seen it and that are in the industry over there. So that's really exciting. Have either of you guys seen Peter Pan Goes Wrong? Any of y'all?
Mm-mm. That'll be down.
Okay. You look into it.
MPH is amazing.
Super fun. He is. He's just magical. I fell in love with him, obviously, in How I Met Your Mother. But then during the Emmys back in 2014, he was hosting the Emmys, and they decided to announce on live TV for the first time the best choreography winner. So he created this huge big number where all the nominees had to not only choreograph it, but they also had to perform, and they had to find a way for him to be involved in it as well. And they highlighted all of the shows that were nominated for best comedy and best drama. And it was amazing. There's clips all over. You should totally check it out if you haven't. But he's just incredibly talented. So I think that'll be fun.
Nice.
Yep. We also got our first look at The Little Mermaid. So The Little Mermaid stills, production stills were released this week. So most of them were her in the blue dress that we see. It's a little bit of a new take on it, which is really exciting. You guys all have kids for the most part. Brian, I'm sorry, you and I are kidless. But Aaron and Brian, or usually Aaron and Rick, you guys have kids. So are your daughters excited for this new remake of The Little Mermaid?
My youngest most certainly is. My 12-year-old likes to pretend like she's not, but she is.
She's got a little fork that she's brushing her hair with. Yeah, my daughter's definitely down for it. So.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so exciting.
It's a dingle hopper.
Dingle hopper. There you go. Yep. Very cool. Okay, so moving right along. So we do have a new prequel that has been set for Game of Thrones. It's going to be about the conquest that is anyways, there's a new prequel for Game of Thrones that's been slated. It's going to be more about the dragons. It's going to be separate from House of Dragon, taking place between House of Dragon and then before Game of Thrones. What do you guys think about this? Like, I think there's a lot of Game of Thrones IP that's been thrown around over the years.
It's not in my wheelhouse at all. So I'm excited for fans that are excited. That's all I can contribute to that.
Aaron, what you got, man?
I'm a prickly son of a bitch. I really am. So I'm a reader of the books, and I stopped watching the show Game of Thrones because it started to get past the books, and I was like, nope, there's way too much richness in the books. And I'm still waiting to watch the rest of the shows. And I've got the book for House of Dragon, and I'm gonna read that so that I can then watch some of that stuff. But like George R.R. Martin, if you're listening, you're watching, finish your books, dude. You started writing these books in 1996 before most of the world knew that this thing was a thing, and I'm still waiting. So yeah, it's great for those that are watching the show and are looking for more of that world. I mean, there's still a whole other bit of that world he hasn't finished, and I'm very disappointed.
Yeah. Brian, I'm going through
the audiobooks right now. I'm on the second one, which is interesting because it's almost like 40 hours. It's insane.
The other ones,
man. Yeah, exactly. Although I'm loving the audio because the narrator is this older guy who's got this great gravelly kind of, which if you're going through Game of Thrones, it's what you should have.
Yeah.
And he's got all the different accents down, and it sounds like an old man telling a story. And I'm sitting here, I'm here for it.
Got the crackling fire, the pipe.
Yes, I was just gonna say, where's your campfire?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're 40-hour campfire, if you're down for audiobooks, man, I'm actually recommending that one. But I'm going through it, and there is so much that they did very well especially the first couple of seasons.
That's right.
Like it's almost beat for beat in the first season alone.
Yeah.
But there is so much subtext and so much other happening on the sidelines. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's new. So yeah, I'm eager now. The new series you're talking about, because that was the question. If George R.R. Martin's involved in writing it, yes. Part of where the Game of Thrones series on HBO lost me is when they passed George R.R. Martin. And they're like, we could do it on our own. No, you can't. House of the Dragon, I think, on HBO was weird. It was watchable, but it was weird. So there's a piece where, no, if George R.R. Martin's involved in the storytelling, bring it on.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's just interesting that they keep getting more expensive too, like on a totally different note. Like the entire season 1 was like the budget of a episode in the last season, which is wild.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah, okay, cool. So we'll move on here. Euphoria. So did anybody watch Euphoria?
My wife does.
My wife does. Okay. So for those of you listening or watching who do watch Euphoria, Barbie Ferraria, I probably butchered her name, apologies. She opened up about her exit from the series. So there were a lot of rumors swirling around. She recently was on Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard and Monica Padman, where she opened up about this. A lot of it was she felt as if she was the fat character and she didn't want to be the fat best friend. I don't want to play that. And I didn't think they wanted that either. It was the quote that she had said. So I think it's really interesting that we're still in this day and age having conversations about women's weight and appearances. If this was a male character, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, and she probably wouldn't feel the need to voice this and have to explain that rationale. So to me as a woman, I totally hear her and I support her, but as a frustration of just the industry, like, why does it matter? Why are we comparing and talking about women's weights and appearances? Like, it's just so unhealthy. So, and, Rick and Aaron, you guys both have daughters. Like, I would hope that, we are in this day and age where that doesn't have to be a central part of the conversation. But fortunately, it sounds like it still is. What do you guys think about that?
Well, of course it is. There's a double standard. There probably, unfortunately, always will be. Maybe that fever will break at some point. Things are better now. Obviously, I don't want to get too political on the show or anything like that, but I hear you. I 100% agree. And I had an acting coach, the late, great Grant James, Brian Chatlin, who told me, we were talking about sexism in Hollywood one time, Brian, and he said, when a man cries on camera, when a woman cries on camera, it's expected. When a man cries on camera, they give him an Oscar. And even though we're talking about something different in terms of weight and everything, that double standard just applies all over the place is my point. Yeah. So it sucks. That's unfortunate.
Agreed.
Yep. There you go.
Yep. It's not fun. All right, so in something a little bit more lighthearted, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Shailene Woodley, and Richard Madden are all set to be star in a love triangle thriller called Killer Heat. So the film will follow twin brothers caught in a violent love triangle on a remote Greek island and a damaged local detective who is called in to investigate the murder. This sounds very Knives Out to me, Glass Onion, in the way that this description was written. I personally love Richard Madden. I think he can do no wrong. So I'm very excited for this, but I'd like to see if you guys are excited like I am.
I don't know. I started thinking about The Last Jedi when you said Rian Johnson, Glass Onion. I'm already on to Star Wars. I don't know. Just kidding.
That's all you want to talk about, right?
No, I don't have any input on that, but I just love those films. But what do you think, guys? Any thoughts on that?
Can't wait to see the trailer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh boy, oh boy. All right, and then the last one that I'm going to mention here, we did see the release of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 soundtrack that is now on Spotify. You can also pre-order the vinyl, which looks super fun if you guys are vinyl owners. The soundtracks for these films have become a staple of just how fun they are, and they've gotten so much traction and attention. Is this something you guys are interested in? I'm excited. I don't know if y'all were.
100%, and I think that this is sort of James Gunn's swan song in a way in terms of his exit from Marvel, and so I'm excited to see. I think it could also be sort of a precursor to maybe where he's at and with his Superman script, because that those films got a lot of heart, and so I expect as much with Superman. I'm excited for the soundtrack. I'm excited for the film, and just recently, not to get off topic here, but I don't know, I haven't confirmed this, but was there some remark that James Gunn mentioned that was an official comment that actually came from him that even alluded to the fact that there could possibly ever be like a Marvel DC live action crossover, or am I imagining that? Anybody know what
I don't
about?
Recall that. Yeah. I mean, James Gunn is he's pretty active on Twitter and interviews. And he I think part of what everybody loves about him is he is very off the cuff and he doesn't hold back. So if he made a comment about it, I'm sure it was like, yeah, I'd love to do that someday. But I doubt that there was an official thing made, because I don't ever foresee that happening.
Yeah. And I wasn't prepared to mention that. It just kind of came to me as we're talking about it. But no, to answer your question, super excited. Can't wait to see it.
All right, cool. So we're going to move in last one, which is kind of into we're going to end up flipping our order here a little bit, I guess. Wait. Yes, go ahead.
I was just saying, we're supposed to be doing top 5. How many have we done?
There's been several. I told you it was going to be a little bit more than 5 today. There's a lot that happened this week.
Top 5.
There was a lot that dropped this morning.
Yes. It's the beginning of the month. So at the beginning of the month, everything drops. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. So this is the last one, Marvel Into the Spider-Verse. So the second time we'll get to see Miles Morales, that Across the Spider-Verse, it says it's arriving April 4th. So I guess it's already, or the new trailer. I don't know. I'm a little confused on the release date on it, because in the copy of the post, it says Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse arrives April 4. Today's April 7th. So I don't know if it's already in
trailer. No,
it must have been just the trailer.
Yeah, it's I think June.
It's in June, I believe. June or July. Okay. It's one of the J's.
Okay.
Or something
one
like
of the
that.
J's. There we go. But the new trailer looks amazing.
Well, and I'll just say this, going back to my daughters, is that their favorite comic book films are Into the Spider-Verse and then all 3 of the Tom Holland films. So we're all in.
Love it.
So bring it.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
I went and saw the Dungeons and Dragons movie over the weekend, and they had the new trailer on there.
Yes.
Okay, D&D, real quick, y'all. If you've ever played D&D, this movie doesn't watch like a standard movie. It doesn't watch like they've written out an entire story. And this watches as though you've got a bunch of people sitting around a table going, oh, well, I pick up a clod of dirt and throw it at the bad guy. Okay, roll for initiative. Cool, let's try that. This is how the movie watches. It watches like a D&D game, and it is delightful.
It was so fun. So I don't play the game, Brian. I don't know if you do, but I've never played it, never really had an opportunity, which is fine, whatever. But I didn't really know what to expect. But coming out of the film, my fiance and I both felt like it was very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque. Like, it didn't take itself too seriously. It made fun of itself. Like, it was light. It wasn't anything that was like overly dramatic, but it was so fun and so watchable.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Absolutely recommend going check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else have thoughts on that?
Very cool. I've never been into it. I played a little D&D as a kid, and we used to do amp guard. We took PVC pipe, and it was like a live action D&D game. I remember playing that for a couple summers with some guys, but I just never really been into it. But again, I'm just excited that fans are excited about this stuff.
Yeah. It looked, I mean, from the trailers, it looked a little hokey to me, but then folks who went to go see it were like, we needed this movie. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that that it's doing well.
Yeah.
It is hokey, but that's the whole thing is when you're playing a D&D game and you get a bunch of creative smartasses sitting around a table, it really is a matter of, well, I try this.
Yeah.
And basically it's okay, well, roll for initiative and see what happens. Well, that worked. Now we're going to So that's really kind of how it goes. So it's people doing problem solving, and there's a lot of interesting problem solving in the movie where you go, oh, that's actually clever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and like, again, they make fun of themselves, and there's a couple fun cameos as well, which
and really everybody, because every character in D&D, you get to create your own tragic backstory for your character. So every one of them at some point in time has their tragic backstory. It was brilliant. It was amazing.
Awesome.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And Michelle Rodriguez is still the boss.
Absolutely. I will watch anything she is in at any point ever. Cool. All right. So now Secret Invasion. Okay. So did you guys see the new trailer that dropped this week for Secret Invasion?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts?
I wish I had it pulled up is what I wish, but that's all right.
It's a series. I'm loving that it's a series.
I know.
It's not a movie. It's a series. We're going to get to actually follow the spy journey. We finally got a decent spy movie coming out. Yes.
Absolutely. I've heard this referred to as the Andor of Marvel, which I am on board with. Like, I think that's kind of what we need. It comes out on June 21st. It is Disney Plus. I'm sure they're going to do a week by week because that's what they do with their stuff now. The question that I've been looking at and reading and hearing in certain circles and having with some friends is, do you think we're going to find out at what point Nick Fury leaves and then a Skrull takes his place? Like, do we think we're going to find that out officially? Because, like, for all we know at this point, Infinity War, Endgame, like maybe even back to like Civil War, Nick Fury's been a Skrull on Earth and he's been up, like doing it. Like,
there's a theory that like I think it's even in Age of Ultron when he brings everyone to the farmhouse.
Yeah,
he cuts his sandwich diagonally. There's a reference in Miss Marvel where he says, "Nah, I don't cut my," like, how dare you cut your sandwich diagonally? But he does it in that movie. So they're saying that he may have been a Skrull all the way back then. It's like, this is probably one of the pinnacle moments in the comics. It's a bit of a reset. I think the series is going to do the same for the MCU at this moment, because we've had on our show lots of conversations around how different phase 4 and phase 5 have felt in relation to some of the other, the previous phases, and that they're doing a lot of big time sort of long game storytelling. The Skrulls have been teased for quite a while. If you remember all the way back to WandaVision, which was the first Disney Plus Marvel show, it ends with a Skrull getting what's her name? Not Monica Rambeau. Maybe it is Rambeau. I don't remember. The new photon person, they call her up into space.
Yeah, Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau. So I'm interested to see how this all pays off and like what's actually been happening. I think that the Skrulls have infiltrated multiple layers of the government and potentially the Avengers themselves. So
we're looking at Skrulls in the trailer doing some things that are making people wonder if those are super Skrulls, because they have the ability to mimic superpowers.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and then there's also a shot. There's a shot as well where it's just like all those bodies, right? And like there's theories that what if those are just government leaders from all over the world that these Skrulls have infiltrated? What is the breadth that we're going to see of how widespread all this is?
Yeah.
It looks so good. I'm so excited, and I love how gritty it is. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Awesome.
Any last thoughts?
I'm stoked. Again, I wish I had it pulled up. So hey, real quick. So Aaron, you've got to jump off this in a few minutes, correct?
Yes, sir.
So Courtney, why don't we do this if you don't mind? Let's swap the Mandalorian and the Celebration stuff, because I would like to just because he's only got a few minutes, I really wanted to get sort of what he's most excited about and all that, if that's cool with you. And then we'll end on the Mandalorian. So we're going to talk here about Star Wars Celebration for sake of time for our guest here, who didn't have the courtesy to tell me he had a limited time today, but
I did actually. I did.
He's just bored and wants to leave.
I will screen grab it. I will vlog. I will reactivate my account on Twitter and put you on blast.
I'm kidding. I knew that. I should have mentioned that at the top, but it's all right. All good. So we'll just swap those. I do want to get your thoughts on Mandalorian, but the Star Wars Celebration stuff is a lot more meaty, and there's a lot more stuff to talk about. Sure. But just real quick, did you like the episode of the Mandalorian? Because you won't be a part of that conversation. Just yes or no. Did you like it?
Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Black and Lizzo just are so distracting for me, and I didn't like the Scooby-Doo element of it was too much. But I do like where they're taking the story of Mandalore and Bo-Katan's that whole bit. That's what I'm locked in on. Like all that extra fluff stuff on the cream puff stuff. Yeah, you leave that. I'm good.
All right. Well, we'll come back around, and the three of us will discuss that. So, Courtney, do you want to lead this off here with the Star Wars Celebration? It's going on still literally right now? Is it wrapped? I'm confused.
It might be done now, but it is taking place in London. So that's why it was like 8 a.m. this morning. Typically it does happen in Anaheim, and obviously it would have been like 5 a.m. in Anaheim. So they weren't doing it there. So I think it might have been wrapped at this point with the time change, but a lot of big stuff has been announced. A lot of it was, we already knew a lot of this was coming. Like a lot of this was already in the works. They did release the poster for Ahsoka along with the trailer for Ahsoka dropped. That's the one I'm really excited about. I love that we're seeing Sabine and Hera and Ahsoka. Like it's the best. And then the fact that my fiance was telling me, actually there's a book that he has. It is a book that came out in the 80s, and it's literally like, this is what Ahsoka is going to be based on, apparently. Yeah, because that's the whole storyline is Thrawn,
heir to the Empire.
This time, he's now the heir to the Empire, which is really fun. So
that
really
and Courtney, and someone says that line in the trailer too. We're gonna watch.
Ahsoka
does. Ahsoka says it.
And we'll pull the trailer up in a minute once Aaron jumps off. All right, so Aaron, we got you for a couple minutes. So big announcements.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just give you the floor for a couple minutes, buddy. What did you think? What are you most excited about? I know you're a big Ahsoka fan, and Rebels.
I mean, Ahsoka just took the wind out of me. I was like, wow, this is everything that I wanted and more. Rosario Dawson looks great. She definitely plays the character with such poise. It feels like the same. It's really hard to do a character that was, created in animation. I forgot her name. Ashley Eccleston is the voice actress, right?
Yes.
So that's Ahsoka, right? But like Rosario Dawson's embodiment of that character is like spot on. I'm stoked. I've been waiting for this trailer for so long. Matter of fact, when they announced Ahsoka, I went and I got the first appearance of Grand Admiral Thrawn in comic book, which is also an heir to the Empire story. And I paid a pretty nice bit of money for it, and I'm just gonna watch that thing inflate. Anyways, I'm so interested. I have a lot of questions about that trailer. Because there look like there are dark Jedi, which I'm not going to call them Sith Lords because they don't actually exist anymore, unless they're trying to restart it. But what's his name? Ray Stevenson swinging a red lightsaber. It looks like it might be his daughter, his apprentice, because they look like they're coming from the same ilk. They have the same costume. His is black, hers is like a white that's kind of getting dirtier. I like that element. I think Ezra Bridger pops up in hologram form.
I was wondering about that too.
I thought that was him.
Is that him, Courtney?
I don't know. It looks like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could be. Okay.
I got really excited about that.
That was one of the things I wanted us to focus on when we play that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. It looks like it moves further from the Mandalorian, where we see, where we first see Ahsoka in live action, and then I forgot the woman's name that she fights with the Beskar spear, but she looks noticeably older in it when you see her. So at some point she may have escaped or something to that end. But yeah, Thrawn, I'm for it. I'm so for this show. I'm just give it to me now.
Is that your favorite thing at this announcement? You got about 2 minutes. I know.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I'm really interested to see what the skeleton crew looks like, because Jude Law in Star Wars is like, okay. Let's see how that goes.
What did you ever see? What is that movie, guys, with Jude Law and Ethan Hawke? Or they're
Gattaca.
Gattaca, dude, that's underrated movie.
But yeah,
so he can be. Well, I'm just saying that he can be in that universe. Is that what you're saying? You can't place him?
No. I'm just saying I need to see it because he's like bald and apparently he's a Jedi.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you.
I gotta see it.
Okay.
Andor season 2, August of 2024. I am so on board for that. Andor is like the best thing to happen to Star Wars in a long time.
Agreed.
Sorry, but Obi-Wan.
It's good.
Andor takes the cake.
Agreed.
What else?
Agreed.
Oh, the Acolyte.
I got to hear this shit on text every day from him, just so you guys know. This is not in a vacuum. My response.
Oh yeah, I've got that stick waiting for you. The Acolyte. I was watching the interviews for that. That looks really interesting. Takes place 100 years before the High Republic. I think it's set a couple of years out from the prequels, so they're even saying that the Jedi look different, which is awesome. I want to see how they kind of evolve or devolve that. Daphne Keane, who played Laura in Logan, the little girl, X-23.
Yeah.
Is cast in the Acolyte. She looks like she's bringing the heat. I guess she's a Jedi.
I was wondering what was happening to her because she was amazing in that in Logan.
Yeah, she's around. She was also in his Dark Materials too. Same actress.
Oh, that is her. Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
she's all grown up now, but
okay.
Yeah, it looks they were having some interesting banter. I'm actually really intrigued by the Acolyte. And then the other thing that I'll end on this note because I've got to bounce is the Rey Skywalker.
Say it again.
Rey Skywalker.
Say it one more time.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Does it pain you to put those two words together?
It does.
She's a Skywalker.
Okay, so set 15 years outside of the Rise of Skywalker, and she's training a bunch of new Jedi. Cool, great, awesome,
nice.
I can't wait to see what that looks like.
It's going to be amazing, and I'm glad that it's a film. All right, buddy. Well, listen, do a quick plug. I know you got to jump.
Yeah, definitely check me out. Our shows are like monthly at this point at the Fanboy Garage. You can check us out on Instagram. We still have a Twitter handle. And if you want to get at me directly, just find me on Instagram or email the show or text us, whatever.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for your input, man. As always, you're one of my favorite Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I'll be blasting you later.
Yeah, blast me later.
Guys, thanks for the opportunity.
All right, man. See you soon.
Bye.
All right, later, man. See, can he just jump off? I love this software. Yep. He can just jump off. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize that he did text me that, to be fair. That was all BS on my part. I just didn't realize how sensitive. I didn't realize the time got away from us a little bit, so we just swiped those. That's okay, because we can just segue right into Mandalorian from here anyway. Yeah. So Courtney, what is your should we just watch this Ahsoka trailer together? Should we just do that?
No, I've already watched it like 3 times. We don't need to watch
it. Oh, yeah. No, I already plowed through a number of times on it.
Oh, then I won't take up screen time for it then.
So what I was just looking at, by the way, is because because I read all the old books back before the movie started coming back out again. And Heir to the Empire was one of my favorites. And the Timothy Zahn series was definitely a staple for a lot of what we're seeing coming up. I had totally forgotten about the clone of Jorah Sabaoth, which is a dark, basically a clone of a Sith. I was trying to figure out who it was that Ahsoka was squaring off against, and I think that might be who that is. I was just looking at IMDb trying to figure out if the actor is listed as Joris, and they haven't listed a name yet.
So, yeah, the actors and the cast that they've announced is relatively limited. Like we got Ahsoka, we know Anakin's in it, we got Sabine, Ezra, and then there's 1, 2, 3 other people that are just actor or actress in it. So I know that there's
they're not letting
probably
the names
some we
out
don't
just
know.
Yet. Yeah.
But, and I know Jody just made a comment on the YouTube that Aman Esfandi is on. Yes, he is. He's Ezra in the show. We know that. We just don't know necessarily some of these other people yet, which I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
I was already excited for this thing. I knew right now they being Lucasfilm, I haven't loved everything in the Disney era.
But they've earned some faith.
Oh my gosh. I still think it's like the golden age of Star Wars, or we're entering it, because the content is consistently great in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even the stuff that I don't like that much, like this movie right here, it's not a terrible movie. It's still good. It's just kind of forgettable for me, meaning Solo. Although I'm down for some adventures with him and Chewie on Disney Plus. But yeah, absolutely. But I will tell you, the Ahsoka trailer, and I love all the Disney Plus shows. Yes, even Boba Fett, and damn it, yes, this season of Mandalorian, which we'll talk about in a second. Guys, this looked even better than I kind of imagined. Like the trailer to me was even better than I expected, and I was kind of taken back by that. I was like, wow, this looks beautiful. It looks exciting. It looks very well made. I'm so in on this. Courtney, is this like your favorite thing?
Yeah, Ahsoka's probably what I'm most excited about. Give me something with a strong female lead, and I'm there. Especially when it's Ahsoka. I don't know how you're not excited about Ahsoka, or just royal you people on the world. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I think it's probably going to be one of the better series that we get in terms of not only delivering, what fans have been asking for so long, but then also in terms of expanding the universe and showing some more story and bringing in so many of these animated characters from Rebels, for example, that, people love. So I think it's going to be great.
I did too. Brian, what are your thoughts?
I am absolutely really loving what I saw. I watched it 3 times, and just the entire time I was sitting there going, wow. Getting to see Harrison Dula and seeing her in her fighter pilot like position, like, okay, got that down.
With Chopper. There's a Chopper.
We get a live action Chopper. I love it.
I love Chopper.
I don't know why I'm so excited about that, but I dig it. Well, you've got to have you got to have the cute little guy. We've seen that in a lot of the series so far. Is you got to have the cute little guy. They've gotten very good about that, and Chopper just is too perfect.
Yeah.
I am absolutely loving that. It looks serious. Like she is on a hunt. We're trying to figure out where Mandalorian is going. We know where Ahsoka is going. She's on a hunt. She's trying to find. And it's definitely, there's going to be a lot of quests along the way, but we know where she's going. Like we already know stepping in what the goal is. And I'm absolutely loving that. Loving the fact that she stepped away from all of the everything happening in the Star Wars universe, because this, she knows, is priority. Nobody else knows about it, but she does. So I kind of dig that. That's a really nice start to the whole adventure. I can't wait.
I think so too.
And the fact that we've had her established now over the course of 2 Disney Plus shows, right? Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Well, 3 if you count Clone Wars.
Yes, I mean, I'm sorry, I just meant live
Rebels.
action.
Yeah, and Rebels. Right.
I mean live action, because that's a different. It's a broader audience. And that's my point, is that it's, there's a lot of Star Wars fans that aren't into the animation at all, and then some, like for myself, it's kind of a limited basis. You just kind of educate yourself as it goes along, but you're not really invested into it. What I love about this character is that she's so enticing, like she's so interesting that that the actor that they cast, she's so good.
She's amazing.
She's so good, and we already know that. To my larger point here, so going into this, I think this will also open the door to Star Wars fans reaching out and watching Clone Wars and other shows that they might not normally have, because that's how that works. You fall in love with a character. That's what Batman did for me. I fell in love with Batman, the TV show, when I was a kid. I didn't know it was in the 60s and already ran its course. It was 1980. Thought it was real time, but it made me want to go read comic books because I wanted to know more about this character. So that's exciting. There's nothing. It's always a good thing when we can create, like a new legion of Star Wars fans and appreciate all the content, because the more, obviously, the people that support these things, the more content we're going to get, and better off the 3 of us are. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked. All right, Courtney, what next as far as announcements go?
There were the announcements of Skeleton Crew, as we saw in the Acolyte. The Skeleton Crew was announced at D23 back in 2019 that they announced it. That one's been a long time coming. We've known about that. So they had the cast up on stage as they do with these things. So that was cool to see. Jude Law, I think he can do no wrong, personally. But we'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. So I'm curious to see what the storyline on that is.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm again, right now they have my faith, and until they don't, they do. So like, I'm just on board. Nothing looks off. Nothing looks bad. Nothing looks cheap. And the production value on these things is getting better as these shows move along because of their success, I guess. And it just means more budget plus just technology advancing as they, you guys know this. Every time they do a season of something and they're using technology, by the next season to the next project, they're enhancing it because of things that they trial and error that they experience. So just these things just getting better.
Well, it's Deep Space Nine. They got to add another floor to the station on the 2nd season, just bit by bit, piece by piece.
All right, so I am going to share a screen for just a second. I want to look at something with you guys, just because it's freaking awesome, and I got to do it because I was really excited for this, and I'm glad. Let's see here.
Freaking awesome! Bring it.
All right, are we ready?
Okay,
go away. Whatever that thing is. All right, let's do this. Can you guys see this?
No. Blow it up.
Can you see it now?
Make it bigger.
Can you see it now?
Ish, yes.
All right.
Let's just watch BB-8.
Let's just watch this for a second. There she is. Woohoo!
Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here. Do we all see that? I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world because I am an apologist for the sequel trilogy. I think she is one of the most dynamic characters in Star Wars, period. She's in my top 3. I am all for this. I know some fans were kind of hoping more for like a trilogy. Who knows exactly what we'll get. All I want, and Courtney, this will go to some of the texts you and I had earlier, is for this thing to get off the ground. It's announced. It's official. They made an announcement. The director's there. The trades are putting it out now. Hollywood Reporter already has. They have to make this damn movie. Because like other projects that have fallen by the wayside, like the Patty Jenkins stuff or whatever, it's one thing for stuff to fall apart has some ambiguity to it or what have you, or, new characters but you take a legacy character like that and they drop the ball, that could be a PR nightmare. So let's just cross our fingers that film gets made. Courtney, what do you think about this Rey film?
Look, I had a very wise agent at CAA. His name was Kenny DiCamillo. He's fabulous. I worked with him way back when, and he was a very wise man. Once told me that nothing's final until there's a contract and it's signed, and then even then, nothing's guaranteed, but at least you'll get money. And I essentially live by that, and I try to be very cautiously optimistic with stuff like this because we've seen a lot over the years. A lot of projects either do get just totally taken off the slate, or they get changed significantly to where they're really not the same thing, or there's casting conflicts with schedules. A lot can happen now. And there's been a lot of changes in the way casting has been done and the way these productions are being run. So as great as this news is, it's not over till it's over, in my opinion. So I try to be cautiously optimistic and not get overly excited about something until there is footage of a trailer or whatever that may be. And I think you can definitely look to Batgirl, for example, as a really good example of that. Like, that thing was canned. It was done, and it never is going to see the light of day. So I think, again, it's not over till it's over. If you got a contract and it's signed by both parties, like, okay, you can feel good about it. But even then, you're not guaranteed to ever see it. So that's my take on that.
And all that is absolutely accurate. I would just like to think that because of the nature of this particular character, like with Batgirl, that Batgirl was never established. We don't know her. We never met her. And, and there's a change of guard. There's all sorts of things that fell into place with that. Unfortunately, with this, it's like she's canon. It's her, it's Daisy Ridley, it's Rey Skywalker. You make this damn movie. You don't announce it and have the director and you're at Celebration and not make this movie, because this one people won't forget about because it's a legacy character. But
we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
But you go back to like Ewan McGregor when he made his announcement, and then we got the show. So I'm gonna hopefully
the difference there is that Ewan McGregor was an EP on the project. So because of that, he had a lot more power that he could get the project pushed through the finish line. There were some things in the trades that I was seeing this morning that, there's not a contract. It's not signed. Like, it's all just kind of in negotiation right now. So until, again, there's that signed contract and we know for sure that this is shooting and that, there's certain cast members there, et cetera. I think it's a great idea and I hope it happens, but we'll see.
Okay. Perfect. I couldn't agree more. Brian, any thoughts on Rey?
I don't have any thoughts on it yet. Literally, like a bunch of stuff dropped this morning and I spent the morning actually digging through everything, trying to figure out what all there is. I don't have an opinion on it yet. So yay, I'm glad people are excited about it. I can't wait to see and hear more things as it comes up. If they're actually fleshing out a story in the future, I'm down for it. I'll watch it. Like you've said, they've earned faith. And I will absolutely dial in and check it out until I've got a reason not to. So
there you go. That's the best.
I'm waiting to get to the Mandalorian. Come on.
Yeah, let's do it, because we've got 10 minutes for about an hour, and then I know you got to jump off. I'll just say this: any last thoughts, real fast, on Celebration? I think that new indie trailer.
Yeah, real quick.
Awesome.
Jody had a comment here. It looks like there's a scene with the new Sith and a dimensional portal from the end of Rebels. So I saw that, and I'm curious about that too. I wonder if that's what that is, because at the end of Rebels, Brian, if you remember, there's the whole portal thing that happened. So I don't know. I hope that's the case. I would love the tie-in to Rebels. I think that would encourage more people to watch it too. That was the best thing I did for my Star Wars fandom, was watch that. So
there you go.
And I would like to know where the whole portals thing ended, how that actually
we have no idea.
And what the wrap up was on that. So I'd love to know. That'd be fantastic. Jody, too. Thank you for the comments on that one. Thank you.
Yeah. And on a side note, I'm gonna have Jody on the show soon. We grew up together. He's a very smart guy, writer, and he's a big time Star Wars fan.
Love it.
Okay, so all the thing I'll say about Celebration is I was, Indiana Jones, the new trailer dropped. For time's sake, I won't play it because I know Brian's going to jump off and we should probably wrap anyway. But I tell you guys, that one got me. The first trailer.
Brian has thoughts.
No, I want to go Mandalorian. Come on.
Okay, all right. So Indiana Jones, but it's Harrison Ford. It's Lucasfilm. We got to talk about. Okay, Mandalorian.
We went from top 5 to top 30. Come on.
All right. We're itching. So let's talk for a couple minutes in this last episode of The Mandalorian, which, like a lot of things Star Wars, is divisive amongst fans online. But, this one is, here's my just thoughts on it. And I'll throw it over to you guys. I really like it. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. I like what it's doing with the Mandalorian stuff. I like that it's kind of cornball and cheesy. And quite frankly, guys, to me, that thing's the most George Lucas-y thing since George Lucas sold Star Wars. It freaking feels like Lucas wrote and directed it. It
was very Phantom Menace.
It's really weird, and I love weird Star Wars. There's some stuff that didn't work, some things that did, but overall, I thought it was a really fun episode. I liked it better when I saw it the second time, and I can't wait for these last 2 episodes. And I think everybody needs to just calm down a little bit and let's look at this from 20,000 feet, because in 2 hours, a lot can happen and to tie the season up. So, Courtney, what did you think of Mandalorian? What is it's called? What is the episode called? Shoot, whatever. I don't have it now. Like something hired guns or whatever.
I really liked the whole piece of, Boba Fett and Din Djarin going to, get the rest of these Mandalorians and bring them. Like, I love that. And Brian, we talked about that a few weeks ago. And so it was really fun to see kind of like what we had talked about, like something kind of coming to light there, which is really cool. And I love the culture of the Mandalorian. And I love that there's the armor and they're just badasses all the way around. I love it. To me, the Jack Black Lizzo was really fun, but it was a little distracting. Like, it almost seemed like it was out of place. I think I can forgive like the Jack Black because I think he fit the character, like, and it worked. And that character being as kind of cheesy as it was hard for me to not see Lizzo and be like,
see Lizzo.
Yeah. Like it was Lizzo. Like, she played herself, I guess. Which is nothing wrong with that, but it took me out of it. Like the same thing I wrote about in my Air review with Ben Affleck playing Phil Knight. Like, it just felt distracting and it took me out of the story. And I will say, I know there's been a lot of stuff that I've been seeing about like it's Bryce Dallas Howard's fault. Like, it is not her fault. Like, she was the director. She was not the writer. Like, the writers, they wrote this story and handed it to her and said, here, make it. So she's doing the best with what she has.
She's done some of the best episodes so far.
Yes, her episodes are the highest rated. So yes. So, I mean, I don't know. I think people are just rude and they have no idea what goes into filmmaking, period. But anyways, it was a little distracting to me. So, and it felt very like Scooby-Doo, as Aaron said.
I hadn't put that two together, but yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think she's very charismatic and she's very talented. I don't think she's a very good actress. And so there's that. And she looked like somebody trying to act. And so that was a little distracting. And I'm not a real big fan of him, to be honest with you. He was great early on, and he just kind of started to wear me out over the years with his little shtick and whatnot. But he was fine. They were fine. I like how this looks. It looks like the prequels. It looks like Canto Bight. It's that kind of Star Wars, and it's weird. And I love weird Star Wars. So, but the subplot things that were happening were the underlining things that were going on are far more interesting than the detective stuff with the crazy droids. Although the droid stuff was fun to watch. I mean, again, if you like the prequels, what a great little love letter to those films in a lot of ways. But yeah, and I liked it fine. I didn't hate it. It's going to be real interesting. What do you guys think about the last 2 episodes? Like, where does this leave us?
Well, Brian, I need to hear your take on the droids.
Yeah, I haven't said a thing yet. I got things to say.
You gotta throw it to Brian, Rick. Come now.
Hey, we're
just gonna move on. What do you guys think about next season? Andor.
He's not a guest. He can just talk. He doesn't need me.
I'm trying to let you guys get your opinions out.
I think you know what I think it is, Brian. You've been like injecting it to the whole show that I kind of felt like maybe you had already talked, and I was like, wait, you actually haven't.
I haven't said a damn thing yet. It's my turn.
I'm just kidding.
Reoccurring theme.
All right, the floor is yours. This is your damn show too. You don't need me my permission.
There you go.
All right, go ahead.
I got so many questions. So okay. First off, the vibe and feel of this felt very Phantom Menace. It felt very bright and colorful and odd. There's interesting. There's so many little pieces as the episode goes through because they go through different realms. So you come into the city and it looks like it might be a Mandalorian dome city. When they actually come into like there's a weird ominous piece where it says, no, you've been ordered to land here and we're taking you this way. It's very ominous. As they're being led into the banquet room, I'm having flashbacks of Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back, where I'm sitting there going, wow, this is ominous and creepy and weird. And they walk in on the Mad Hatter's table from Alice in Wonderland. And you get Lizzo is a whole lot of playing Queen of Hearts, but a sweet Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
Like all the way to the weird gaudy costume, and she's playing croquet there at the end, croquet. And like there's a huge piece where I'm like, okay, so what? There's too many vibes of too many different things happening. And I don't know what to think and what to feel. It's just weird. They get escorted off and you think it's going to be one thing. And then they basically tell you there's a problem going on. We need you to do a thing. It's a fetch quest. It's a side quest. Cool. You go in and you do a little bit of a detective story and it's neat. The celebrity appearances it is fun from time to time in Star Wars to recognize, hey, that guy in the Stormtrooper armor was Daniel Craig. Cool. It's neat from time to time to see when celebrities have found their way into the universe, and it's neat. When they start handing all of the major roles of an episode off to celebrity appearances, there's a piece where you sit back and go, knock it off. It's too distracting. Come on.
It's distracting.
Can I say
yeah, bring it on.
Let me say something on that note, because you and I talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Chris Lloyd and Jack Black are not like celebrity cameos. They're actors. And so it's fair game that they're cast in this.
Agreed.
Lizzo falls in that category, and she's an immensely talented woman. Don't get me wrong. I actually really like her a lot. She's not, she's not the greatest actress on the planet, and it kind of shows, especially when she's sharing the screen with, really
Jack
great
Black
actors. Who can act. He can for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and the two of them are musical geniuses. If you've seen their TikTok behind the scenes where they're both bouncing around about being happy about being on Star Wars.
She's a colossal badass. I'm not
like it's joyful. I love it.
Right. But she's charming enough where it still worked. But I just want to make that distinction because I'm hearing that a lot. Also, there's a big difference in a cameo and a guest star. We all know that, whatever. But to your larger point, like
this is why I'm using the word celebrity appearance. You corrected me on that yesterday. Yeah, thank you.
Well, and I noticed you said that actually. But like with Jack Black, is it fair to say though with him, like when you let him just play himself, then it looks like the guy from School of Rock in Star Wars versus him playing a character which he's capable of doing. And maybe I would have liked to see a little more in that. To be fair to your larger point, is that fair to say?
It's fair to say there's some actors that they basically just play themselves, and he's one of them.
They play different variations of that to fit the world and to fit the tone. And I think that was what's so conflicting is the tone of The Mandalorian overall is very different than the world that this episode was set in. And I feel like that at its heart was like the conflict that everybody's struggling with. Like it has nothing to do necessarily with Jack Black and Lizzo. I mean, it does to a point, but I think the tones were so different. It's been hard for everybody to reconcile.
Yeah. So and that's one of the fun, and I guess some people lose track of it. And I got to remind myself too, is that the Star Wars universe, like literally every planet is going to have a completely different vibe. Yeah. So going to a planet and saying, this doesn't feel like the Mandalorian, series. Yeah. Okay. It's a completely different planet. Yeah. All right. I'm cool with it. So, but there's a couple of interesting pieces that they nonchalantly, I guess maybe one of my issues with this episode, there are a number of pieces that they nonchalantly threw in there that are universe changers. It's like the Solo movie introducing fuel. Okay, we knew fuel had to be a part of the Star Wars universe, but you just introduced it as a commodity and just introduced it as something that we can run out of. And that is the first time we've seen that really.
To be fair, to be fair, it was The Last Jedi first, and then Solo. The Last Jedi is actually the film that introduced it.
Was it really? Okay.
But Solo came right after that, and it just followed.
Right. Yeah. But it's yes. Okay. So they came
but
really
your
close.
Your point
right.
stands, right? I'm just.
So the point is, though, is you're introducing a point that just changed the universe. It went from being a thing that we didn't have to worry about and wasn't really much of a thing to, oh, now this is actually forefront and on the table, and we actually have to consider this when looking at blank. And one of the pieces in there is the sovereignty of droids. Droids have been side support characters. They've been, well, if they're sovereign, if they're intelligent, standalone, then they are slaves or servants. If they are automatons, if they are machines, if they are items, then they are items, and it's not an issue. But this introduced, they've surfed the line a couple of times as to what exactly are droids, because high level of sentience, and they are, you wind up with the, from Solo, what's her butt? The co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon that staged a droid revolution. And then at the end of the movie, they basically said, oh, well, we'll just wire her into the ship's brain, and now she is the ship's brain forever. Cool. That's disrespectful for a sovereign, intelligent individual. But if she's just a machine and she's a database, then that's okay. So it crosses a line of what is what. And in this one, you've got droids that are reprogrammable and instantly deactivatable. But they're also sentient beings that choose and want to serve organics, and they've got their own bar where they can sit down and refresh and recreate. What are they? Like, it opens an entire conversation that hasn't been at the forefront, and they just, like, what are they? You're reconditioning droids. Well, are you reconditioning intelligent, sentient individuals? Because that's a crime. There's a weird confusion that shouldn't be so forefront unless you're really, really going to do something with it.
Well, I haven't thought about any of this until you said it, and I'm not saying good, bad, indifferent. I'm just saying that, you know what I mean? What I will say about it is that the Disney era of Star Wars has made Star Wars more nuanced. All of it, from especially with Rogue One. Force Awakens, it was in there as well. But like, remember in Rogue One, where they're like, look, I've done a lot of really bad things. It's all been for the rebellion, but I'm not proud of everything I've done. Mm-hmm. That was the first time that Star Wars wasn't so black and white, like figuratively and literally, right? So I feel like that's kind of just in the spirit of this new Lucasfilm, where we're going to peel back the onion on characters, on what's good, what's bad, the ambiguity of that, greatly exhibited in The Last Jedi, I might add. And perhaps we're even obviously doing that now with droids. So I'm here for it. And look, it's sparking great conversation, right? I mean, those are very interesting points. I didn't even think about it.
So it's some interesting pieces. By the way, quick little side note, that odd little romance between the Mon Cal and the captain there at the beginning. First off, the Mon Cal kid was voiced by Tom Holland's brother.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is something I didn't know. And that's also apparently a reference to the first episode of Mandalorian. One of the bounties that he turned down was some Mon Cal politician's son went missing, and he was supposed to go find him and bring him back. So they were basically exercising the bounty that Mando was supposed to do in the first episode of the first season. So that's a funny little callback. So yeah, they're tying some fun things together. So okay, so everything else aside, the fact that there is now oil that is reprogramming droids, and there's an entire piece in there.
And by the way, Andor introduced Fruity Pebbles, just so we're clear. Okay, go ahead.
Andor introduced Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah, they're eating cereal in Andor.
Oh, that's funny. I love that. Okay, cool. So back with all of the side story and all of the side things that they were casually throwing out there, they get back to the part that I was waiting the entire episode for them to get to, go to the Mandalorians and have whatever conversation needs to be had. And you get there, and it feels like the entire buildup of drama around the Darksaber just ended. Like he just went, oh, no, it's actually hers. Here you go. And then she lights it up and everybody bows down. I'm like...
But he didn't do that. The reasoning he gives of why she deserves it was both sound, and it made all the sense in the world to me.
Sound, but anticlimactic, because she chose to give it back to him.
Right.
After she, and I thought that was interesting, but there's also the mythosaur. I thought she was going to have to go after the mythosaur because it basically bypasses and supersedes the power that the Darksaber has.
Well, we still have 2 more episodes.
But yeah.
So as he's malfunctioning because he's now turned into a Star Wars hater, apparently. Just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. Courtney, what do you think?
I have questions.
Just final thoughts on this episode of Mandalorian from you.
Yeah, like I said, I like the storyline of Mandalore and everything that we're getting there. So I'm really curious to see how all that fleshes out. I do think there could have been a bigger thing made about the Darksaber. I know Brian and I chatted about it a few weeks ago that like he had looked like he was been fighting at Din Djarin versus like Bo-Katan like looked like it was, a part of her, which was cool. But yeah, I think there was a little bit of a missed opportunity to flesh that out more versus what we got with, the Scooby-Doo storyline per se. But at the end of the day, like it's Mandalorian. I'm glad we're getting episodes, so we'll see.
Yeah, and the gentleman that's directing the last 2 is, what's his name? He's awesome. He's done some good stuff too. I'm going blank on his name, but it looks like the last 2 episodes are directed by the same guy who's done some phenomenal stuff on there as well. I'm just going to blank on his name, and I don't have it pulled up, but anyway, so we'll have apparently kind of one director's vision, as much as a director can control it, to Courtney's larger point, because it's sort of a writers and editors medium in a lot of ways, unless you're Steven Spielberg, right? or a major director like George Lucas and the prequels. But I liked it, and can't wait for Wednesday. I get so excited on Wednesday mornings. I like when I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, it's Mandalorian Wednesday. I even forget that it's Wednesday. It's so great. All right, Courtney, let's do some plugs and get out of here, ma'am. What do you got?
We have our first review up on the site. It's from Press Screening of Air, so check that out. Website has been updated. Spent some time on that over the weekend, so definitely check that out. But yeah, we're excited to keep talking about stuff. It'll be fun.
And thank you for all your hard work with the site. It means a lot to me and that does to Brian. And that review was really, really, really well written. Like it's really good. It's really good. I was really proud to put that out and share that with everybody. Thanks for doing that for us.
Yeah.
And we've been kind of doing some press screenings, so this is nice. And I've got some more people that I've reached out to, so we'll be getting a lot more of these. Did you put where people can find you? Twitter, Instagram, whatever?
I'm really only on Instagram. I'm never on Twitter, so it's just Courtney Elizabeth Cheek is my handle. I have a Twitter account. I don't really use it, but if you mention or tag me in something, most likely I'll see it. So yeah.
Right on.
Brian, what about you?
I am your friendly neighborhood photographer. I can be found on Instagram at Chatlin Photo.
And you can find me at SheRick and find us at Friends Work Pod on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are everywhere. Please check out our site that Courtney put a lot of hard work into. It's really great. And, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, please do so on iTunes and Stitcher and wherever you can download great podcasts, except for Google Play. I'm having a hard time with that one, but I'm going to get us up on there. But look, guys, we really appreciate it. You got the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Help support us. That's the only way we can put out this content for you guys, if we have some support. So for those watching, thank you very much. Rick Shue, Brian Chatlin, Courtney Cheek, Friends from Work. Over and out.